You open this door with the key of reason. Beyond it is another dimension, a dimension of truth, a dimension of freedom, a dimension of joy. You're moving into the land of both the ideal and the real, of the possible and the actual. You've just crossed over into the Capitalist Corner.
Where reason meets reality, welcome to the Capitalist Corner.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Capitalist Corner. I am your host, Mark Pellegrino, and also the chairman of the American Capitalist Party, along with my co-host and the vice chair of the American Capitalist Party, Michael Leibowitz, who is the host of a multiplicity of other shows with lots of great content that you should be watching as soon as possible. Michael, what's going on in those shows? Thank you, by the way, for this $10. Jenna, starting us off right. Here's a bribe not to do that. I won't. Here's a bribe not to do what?
I'm not telling you. So let's just move on and not get caught up in what the bribe is for.
Tell us what's going on, Michael, with your show.
I got a million things going on, but right now on The Rational Egoist is a fantastic episode where I discuss political tribalism with a political scientist. And later this week, Jim Valiant and I, on our series of using OPAR for self-improvement, we covered reason. But boy, do we have a lot to talk about today, sir. Oh, but first, let me tell everyone. Did you just share this? I hope.
I did just share this, and you want to talk about the super chats, or do you want me to say something?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
We already agreed I was going to do it, and now you're trying to monkey wrench.
No, we didn't agree. We didn't agree. We didn't come to any.
Persephone said I got to do it.
Oh well, she did. Oh, I guess she did say to your channel, so you got to do it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So okay. The super chats. So we are setting super chat goals with super chat prizes. The goal, if I'm wrong on this, Persephone, tell me. We're looking to get at least 5 chats of $10 or more. 10 chats. We're looking to get 10 chats of $10 or more, and the top 5 givers will be able to join Mark and I on Friday in studio. So that is the reward, but we cannot have any schmoes. Mark has been very explicit to me. No schmoes allowed. If you come in and you act like a schmo, you'll have to leave. And what is a schmo is to be determined, especially by Mark Pellegrino.
Yes, but indeed we welcome you into our family here, and to be co-hosts and to talk about issues, to debate us with respect to the articles, the news, thoughts, to feel.
They don't have to debate us, Mark.
Hey, man, no, they can do anything they want, practically.
No, they can't do anything they want. They're messing up
anything they want. Practically.
They can join the discussion. You don't have to say anything else. That's it.
No, I can. I can make modifications here. I am a partner in this show. I am a partner. And my part of it is you can be free, man. And you can do practically anything. Just don't be a schmo. That's the thing. All right, so are we going to talk about Harry Binswanger first? Because it looks like
we are, but I want to tell you why. Now, I mentioned this yesterday, but I want to get into it a little bit more today. This is just something of personal interest to me. I hope the audience is interested as well. I have been coming under a little bit of fire because of my friendship with Andy Bernstein. Andy's a good friend of mine. I am not going to disavow him. I've been asked where the line is. The line is, for me, is simple. If a person is making honest errors rather than evasions or lies, and if that person's what's the word I'm looking for? Good qualities outweigh their bad qualities, I am not cutting that person off, and Andy's good qualities far outweigh his bad qualities, although I think he is badly wrong on Donald Trump. So the reason I wanted to go over this Harry Binswanger article is because a lot of good people and a lot of smart people have been, praising this article to the ceiling. They've been sharing it as something that should be read and taken into consideration. They've praised the reasoning behind it. Now, my point isn't that these people are dumb or that they're bad people. My point is simply that they're mistaken, just like Andy's mistaken. And the fact that in the end, I happen to agree that ICE is bad. I would get rid of ICE if I were the czar of the universe.
And the DHS and the DHS.
Yeah, all that shit. And, I think that, as I said, I believe yesterday, ICE is indeed unconstitutional. Nevertheless, so let's just start with Harry's claims. Okay. Harry claims now I've gotten my facts from AI. For those who wish to criticize, if they want to criticize me from getting my facts from AI, then you need to criticize Harry as well, because the article Harry cites that he got his information, I believe, from Chat in Gemini. Okay. So Harry claims that anyone seized by ICE remains at the mercy of ICE or its parent agency, the Department of Homeland Security. Both agencies are part of the executive branch headed by the president. I asked Grok, is this accurate? Grok says the statement has two parts. I'll address each for clarity. The organizational structure. Yes, this part is. He wants me to stop saying chat as short for Chat GPT. Okay, Ian. But this is Grok anyways. It says that ICE is a sub-agency within the Department of Homeland Security. The Department of Homeland Security is a cabinet level department in the executive branch, and the president is the head of that. Okay. Now, where is this? So the next claim here is anyone seized by ICE remains at the mercy of the parent agency. This part is inaccurate and overstated, particularly when applied to U.S. citizens. General detainees, this applies to. ICE's primary role is immigration enforcement, including detention pending removal proceedings. Non-citizens in immigration detention have limited but existing legal protections, bond hearings, asylum claims, and judicial review in some cases. They are not entirely at the mercy without recourse. Federal courts can intervene via habeas corpus or other challenges, though the process can be lengthy and rights are narrower than in criminal custody because immigration is a civil act. ICE has no legal authority to detain or deport U.S. citizens. Now, importantly, ICE, specifically to address Harry's claim, because the whole article it starts with, do people have to obey the orders of ICE? Are we morally obligated? And he says no, because ICE is not a law enforcement agency, and he cites the fact, he says you don't have due process rights, that sort of thing. So here's the problem with that. If you are an American citizen and you obstruct ICE in their job requirements, you are obstructing justice. ICE can and will arrest you lawfully, which puts them on par with any other law enforcement agency. If ICE arrests you for these, you will be charged criminally and have full access to Article 3 courts. So Harry's claim of lack of due process is inaccurate. His claim that there's no access to the criminal court is not accurate. Furthermore, he says ICE makes its own rules and it's not part of the American justice system. Here, according to Grok, no. ICE does not make its own rules arbitrarily and without oversight. Wrong again. ICE custom enforcement is bound by federal statutes, primarily the Immigration and Nationality Act enacted by Congress. It issues regulations and policies through formal processes under the Administrative Procedure Act. And it goes on to say, in short, ICE operates within a legal framework with congressional, executive, and judicial constraints, not its own rules. Now, the overall assessment from ChatGPT, to whom I submitted the article and asked, by objectivist standards, is this accurate? Is this sound reasoning? It says on accuracy, the article misidentifies ICE's legal nature, misstates due process, misuses arbitrary. On logic, it employs stolen context, context dropping, false analogies, emotionalism, category errors, and non-contradiction violations. Final verdict. By objectivist epistemological standards, this article is philosophically unsound. Now, I also submitted it to Grok. and asked Grok for its assessment. So let me just tell you, Grok's final assessment is on accuracy. It's low to moderate. The article correctly notes immigration enforcement's civil nature yields fewer protection than criminal justice. However, it repeatedly overstates and ignores real constraints. According to Grok, it's coherent within an objectivist framework, emphasizing individual rights and limited government, but relies on exaggeration, false dichotomies, and slippery slope speculation. It risks encouraging dangerous resistance to federal authority. Finally, I asked it specifically about U.S. citizens, and this gets back to what we were talking about earlier. ICE can arrest U.S. citizens who unlawfully obstruct, assault, or interfere with ICE officers. ICE cannot detain citizens under immigration law, so you would have access to criminal law. In short, Harry is wrong on facts, and the article's poorly reasoned. That was my assessment initially. The reason I don't like to just, I prefer to submit it to AI is because nobody can argue that AI has a horse in the race. Nobody can argue that AI is biased, that it has a personal vendetta against Harry. Not that I do, but none of that enters into the fray. Not only that, but Harry relied on them as well. So my ultimate point here, if we are to reject Andy Bernstein because of his flawed reasoning, then we must reject Harry as well. We must disavow him. I would disavow neither. People make mistakes. People err, including me. And I'm sure I've erred on plenty. But what's good for the goose is good for the gander. We cannot just endorse people based on the conclusions on which they arrive. If that reasoning is flawed. If the reasoning's flawed, it's flawed, and we ought to say so. So that is my statement on the subject. Any thoughts, Mark?
Well, with respect to Andy, it is getting harder and harder as Trump continues to march through the world with an authoritarian bent to deny and evade the fact that this guy is really an authoritarian and really does not have the interests of maintaining Americanism and classical liberalism and capitalism in his heart. He really has something else going on there. It's super hard to evade it. And if Andy's still doing that, something is going on. And that doesn't mean I would disown him either. I would just try to get at the bottom of what it is that's keeping him so mystified by Trump. I tend to think he thinks the left is the bigger threat than Trump. I think this is belied by circumstances, to be honest with you now. So, and it's harder and harder to stick with Andy's perspective, or Bosch for that reason. Any of those guys who happen to be in the Trump camp on the objectivist side, including, look, I mean, Andy he's a advisor here in the Capitalist Party. Joe Sanders, who's one of the co-founders of the Capitalist Party, is a hard Trump guy. I have arguments with these guys all the time. I don't understand how they can continue to avoid the reality of Trump's authoritarian bent, but they are nonetheless doing it.
So I just want to address a couple of things here. And this is the type of thing that I'm not going to say afraid of, but it's what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a little heartbreaking, I guess, for lack of a better word, or heartrending. Cosmic Wolf steps in. Why are they picking up Native Americans? Why then are they picking up Native Americans? Okay. My critique of Harry Binswanger's reasoning and of the facts he relies on, the facts, have nothing to do with whether I agree with ICE. I would abolish ICE today if I could. And I'm quite sure that ICE is going beyond what it's supposed to be doing, beyond the constitutional restraints upon it. The fact that it has constitutional restraints that it can violate is a hint that Harry's wrong, because they are restricted. Otherwise, we couldn't reference the Constitution when they violate it. Now, if somebody wants to say to me, okay, Michael, but I think ICE is unconstitutional, I would say, okay, I agree. I also think there's probably a strong argument that the FBI is unconstitutional, although I haven't studied the issue enough to really look into it. There's probably arguments that the CIA is unconstitutional, but I don't hear a enmity of objectivists arguing for the abolition of the FBI on these grounds. So if we're going to be consistent, then let's be consistent. Yes, I think it's unconstitutional. I also think that it's current law. It's been ruled legal as such, and they can apprehend you lawfully if you disobey their orders. And it's legal for them to do so. And if you're an American citizen, you will be charged criminally and in criminal courts with full due process. And by the way, you, even if you're an immigrant, have some due process, not as much as a citizen, but you can file habeas corpus to federal courts to challenge what ICE is doing. So Harry is just wrong on the facts. And the reasoning is seriously flawed with a lot of emotional appeals to with using language like goons and things of that nature, which, while rhetorically effective, and by the way, a lot of the times I would agree, it's not philosophical language. And let me just sort of button this up. It was Harry Binswanger who corrected me after my first debate with Professor Michael Huemer for the way that I conducted myself when I was very aggressive. I was interrupting Professor Huemer, and Harry correctly, and I'm very grateful to him, pointed out to me that he couldn't even watch the debate because of the way I conducted myself, because he said debates are supposed to be for as finding truth, establishing truth. So is philosophy. So that's my take on it.
I thought the spirit of the article was basically this: the DHS and ICE are illegitimate entities. And I think it can be argued, Michael, that the CIA and the FBI are illegitimate entities. Even though they have legal force in the United States of America, they are anti-American. And we can tell by the way in which they conduct investigations against peaceful American citizens and have a great deal of power to take in our information, invade our privacy, that they are anti-American organizations. Before the CIA was formed, intelligence about foreign countries and their military capabilities came from the military. They did that. They had a whole separate branch of the military that did that. The CIA did not have to do that. So, in my view, arguing for the civil disobedience against an illegitimate authority that has legal power over you is, to me, the moral thing to do. It's civil disobedience, and it's just you'll have to pay the consequences for it, of course. But I think protesting them is a legitimate action. Violently protesting, no. Filming what they're doing and exposing them to the world, yes, because we are seeing tons of them.
But Harry literally argues that you are not morally obligated to obey their commands. And he does so with fallacious reasoning. Now, if we could get into a deeper discussion about the morality.
I agree that you are not morally obligated to follow their commands. Now, you're right that he makes he reduces his own argument to implausibility by using faulty reasoning.
And that's the only point. And now, and it's also the point that from an ethic of egoism, that you're supposed to be acting in your own interest, and it may not be in your long-term interest to disobey their order. That is the calculation that an individual needs to make. I would argue, I mean, the problem I have here is that there's so much illegitimacy if we're going to judge by constitutional originalism, which I'm perfectly fine with doing. But I think that a lot of those conclusions are going to end up being conclusions that are very libertarian, in that I think Harry and a lot of objectivists would object to. And it's just, I don't think that it's appropriate to single out ICE for these arguments and make a flawed case in doing so. I think what ends up happening is, from our side, I'm for open immigration.
As the capitalist party.
Right, with few restrictions. But if the arguments are flawed and based on inaccurate portrayals, that might hit the sweet spot for people looking for confirmation bias, or for people that are already in agreement with these positions. But if all we're doing is singing to the choir, we're not accomplishing anything. We need to convince other people. And again, fallacious reasoning buttressed by inaccurate claims is not the way to convince people.
I mean, it would appear that after the shooting of Miss Good and the refusal of the FBI to actually investigate this shooting, that it lends an air of plausibility to the things that Harry is suggesting. That this agency is quite independent of law enforcement, quite independent of restraints from the Constitution, and operating at the whim of the executive branch of government. The Department of Justice isn't going to prosecute these people. If the FBI isn't going to investigate them, they're going to do their own internal investigation to see whether or not this was a justified shooting. When I think, by all accounts, now, Michael, certainly we haven't seen all of the evidence, but we've seen pretty much every piece of video evidence that I think I've seen, plus a very coherent analysis of that event. It looks like, and a good 58% of the population of the United States thinks it was a wrongful shooting, and something has to be done about it. And so when things like this happen, where it looks like the government is circling its wagons around its own, then it really does appear to be the president's men and not a law enforcement agency with the legitimate powers of law enforcement granted by the Constitution and with the oversight of constitutional restraints. So, I mean, there's a superficial plausibility to it, but you're right. If these facts can be sussed out, the facts that he claims to, the concretes that he claims to back up his abstractions with can be sussed out as false, then you blow holes in a legitimate argument and a legitimate complaint. And so I agree with Harry Binswanger's complaint. I agree with the morality of that you do not have to obey these folks. You also have to understand the consequences under which you'll have to pay, because they may be steep. And you have to be willing to pay those consequences and understand in the context of your own life if those are right for you or not. I do think these law enforcement organizations are legitimate all the way down the line, Michael. The DEA, all the way down the line, these things should be abolished. They're rights violating enforcement agencies that give undue power to the government to take control of our property and our lives, and they need to go. Now, the question is how to do that. That's another thing.
Now, just a reminder to the audience, a friendly reminder of our goal for the week. Persephone, is it for the week? For the week, 10 super chats of $10 or more, and the top 5 people that donate will be able to come into the studio with us. You will be able to personally address Mark Pellegrino in all his splendor. It will be a blast. And by the way, Persephone brought the receipts yesterday to X that Mark indeed did say violate Persephone.
I did see that. I did see it. I was shocked by my own words. I think I was going in one direction and got derailed for some reason. But yes, I did say it, and I was quite surprised to hear myself deny it literally a second and a half afterwards. But let's get those super chats going, folks, and super stickers and all that stuff. I want to see people like Race Jacobson on here with us live.
He just said he can't be here.
He did? I didn't see this.
He just said I cannot attend because I'll be at work. And right after he posts that, you said I want to see Race Jacobson.
Pellegrino, but I'm on a different chat here. I'm way behind, folks.
I think maybe on a different planet.
That could be true, but I'm also looking at the comments that we haven't addressed that I thought were interesting, and I'm trying to catch up with those. But so be it. It doesn't matter. But I'd like to see lots of people like Akira Felix. I'd like to see him come on. I'd like to see tons of folks that makes great comments on here. Ian, you guys, Gary, The Rock. I mean, you guys got to come on here, and we got to hear your comments and takes on things and mix it up in here.
Okay, so let's back up. Okay, so Ian Gilmore says HB is not talking about people arrested for obstruction. He's talking about people arrested on immigration charges. The problem is that first of all, he's referring to the claim that they told René Good to get out of her car. That's the first thing. She's an American citizen not being arrested on immigration charges, Ian. Secondly, when he's saying you do not have to obey because they're not law enforcement, he's talking to everybody. But if they give me a lawful order, because I'm violating the law, they are indeed law enforcement and do indeed have the right to arrest me. And I will have access to criminal courts.
So, Michael, let's say you're getting out of your car because you've gone to the grocery store. Let's pretend you're a person of color right now. You're a black man. You're getting out of your car, you have your groceries with you, and they say, "Are you a citizen of the United States?" You say, "Yes." "Can we see your ID, please?" Do you have any obligation to obey those commands?
Well, that would not be a lawful order.
There
They
I go.
cannot law that, you understand. I mean, and you'd have to know the ins and outs of the law, and they vary. I'm not disputing that they violate the law. What I'm disputing is the idea that they're not law enforcement, because in regard to immigration, they are civil law enforcement. It's not criminal because deportation is not considered a punishment. They do have certain rights. They can access Article 3 courts, but again, if you're telling American citizens you don't have to obey because morally, because they're not law enforcement, they are law enforcement in that sense, even to American citizens. If you are violating the law and you are interfering with them, they can arrest you and you will have access to criminal courts. So to say that he's just referring to their role as immigration agency, well, then you're truncating the argument anyways.
I'm saying
that they're
I'm
not law enforcement.
referring
Not
to,
you.
I know, not me, but I'm saying that he's referring to their general legitimacy or not. I don't have the moral responsibility to obey the Stasi or the KGB when they ask me to do something. But if I don't, I'm going to get fucked up.
Well, here's the thing, right? To me, it would be a matter of what's worth it. There's hills I'm willing to die on, and there's hills I'm not. And some guy, they ask me for ID. Like if a cop pulls me over and he has no reason to, and he asks me for ID, I'm probably not going to put up a big fight about it. Like, it's like, okay, here.
I think
it's just not worth it.
Stop anyway, aren't you?
Well, I mean, they can't just screw with you to screw with you. You know what I mean? So my point is that even if a cop is just screwing with me, and wants to mess with me, whatever, I'd probably comply in that case because it's just not worth the fight. I would comply, and then I would come on here and I would talk about it. I'd probably get experts on the rational egoist to talk about it. And to me, that would be a more effective way to fight it. It doesn't mean that somebody would be immoral if they refuse that. The people do want Chandler. And Chandler, by the way, I saw your comment on what the hell's Numbnuts' name? Existence University. When Chandler asked if I took my shirt off.
Numbnuts.
Well, he is Numbnuts. This guy's Numbnuts.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that's the first time I'm hearing this. I think
you've never heard the term numbnuts.
No, first time I've heard you say numbnuts. I have a friend who calls nuts all the time, but
what difference does it make if it's the first time you heard me say it?
Listen, Ray says something here. As barbaric as many ICE agents have become, I don't think they're comparable to the Stasi Nazi officers or ISIS. Well, you're right, but give them
and
time.
They aren't. Well,
right,
but here's the inherent problem. Here's the problem. Subby says I have a white ass. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But so anyways,
you have a white.
I think that when we engage in hyperbole, like referring to everyone who disagrees with us as communist or fascist, it again harms our case. So Subby says I have a white ass. This is what happened. I'm going to tell you. So my bedroom is in the basement. And the basement is connected to the garage. The garage has a door with a glass window. So Subby was out there today painting stuff in the garage, and I saw him. So I thought it would be fun if I got naked, turned my back to him, knocked on the window so he looked, and then I proceeded to do naked jumping jacks. So that is what Subby is referencing.
So, wow. So look where you took us. You took us from Harry Binswanger and a very intellectual discussion about
the naked jumping jacks. That's what you get if you come to this show. You will get intellectually fulfilling, challenging, precise arguments, and you get naked jumping jacks.
All right. So we go all over the map. Folks.
I'm not doing naked jumping jacks on the show just to get super chats, though. I'll tell you that.
You might have to, because I don't see any super chats coming in. And we do want to make a quota if we can. Of $100 in the super chats, folks. So please.
No, it's not just $100. It's 10 super chats of $10.
10 super chats of $10. That's it. But also remember to like and subscribe to the channel, folks, because we think essentially what we have to say here, with the exception of naked jumping jacks, really needs to be out there in the world. And Michael, if you could, the second thing we have up here is young Trump supporters.
Oh my God! Yeah, this is scary.
Yeah. Now, can you bring up the Axios article, because for some reason it's refusing to come up again on my phone.
Of course it is.
But it is a little bit frightening, guys, when you think that some of these millennials, where they're looking for moral guidance, is, I think, exemplified by their feelings respecting a lot of the stuff with respect to culture here, a lot of marketing.
Okay. All right. So the article is report young Trump voters drive a sharp cultural turn. So the study that now they put the average and then they put the young Trump voters. I'm just going to go with the young Trump voters. So
that's right. Zoomers and millennials. Yeah.
America needs more masculinity. 49% of young Trump voters say yes. Trump needs to act urgently to fix America, even if it means ignoring the Supreme Court. 48%. It is more rebellious for a young person to be religious than an atheist. 43%. The United States should bring more religion into government and public life. 40%. In a relationship, the man should lead and the woman should follow. 26%. Violence is sometimes needed to advance political causes in the United States. 20%. Some races are naturally inferior to others. 15%. And Nick Fuentes is the public figure I agree with most about politics. 6%. In my view, that just about puts the dagger in the idea that the left is a bigger threat to freedom than the right.
Right. These are young folks, Gen Z and millennials, who are searching for, I don't know, some kind of cultural identity. They're rejecting what's going on in the left, but they're rejecting it in the way that what's his face, Tate, that Tate character did. They're embracing guys like this, people who really are, I don't want to use the word toxic masculinity because it's such a stupid term, but who really do have a jaundiced view of what men are, what relationships between men and women are, and what right and wrong is.
It's not even masculinity, right? It's like brutish.
It's a dominant, submission sort of orientation to the world. It's a zero-sum way of looking at the world, the way Donald Trump does. And now it looks
in the view of the kids, it's really beta, right? To use the vernacular of the kids these days.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And so clearly it's a reaction to the insanity of the left, but it's the insanity. Well, you didn't show her, though. I didn't see her.
Okay, but Kathy Cassio gives $9.99 and says she does not want to be on the show on Friday.
Too bad, Kathy. You might be there. You're
going to force her on?
Yes, I will. No, I'm not. Kathy, I won't force you on, but I'm just joking with you.
You couldn't, even if you wanted to.
You
couldn't make her come on the show.
I could go over to her house. I know where she lives. I could go there, knock on her door, put a microphone under her face, and put a computer right there and a camera and make her.
You could, and I don't have to put her on because I'm in control.
Well, she could also have me arrested for that too, so it doesn't.
And she should. Okay.
Look, Michael, this young generation is looking for moral guidance, and they're looking to these, they're looking to the Donald Trumps and the Andrew Tates of the world instead of, let's say, ARI, objectivism, Ayn Rand, Rose Wilder Lane, people who could give them a clear perspective of rights and politics and the way in which men and women should behave around one another. They're looking to all the wrong folks. What can we do about it? As pundits,
this is all we can do. Listen, we can be the voices of reason. We can come out here every day, make rational arguments. Also, they can turn into my show, Everyday Ethics, or our show, I should now say, with Persephone. They can tune into that for a little bit of guidance. They can watch the series on the Rational Egoist with Jim Valiant and I. So there's a lot of places that people can turn. The problem is, are they turning, and are they willing to put in the work? Because it's real easy to hear Trump come out and give a stupid speech, right? And he's very emotional and everyone, rah, rah, go Trump. But it's the more difficult to actually read, to weigh evidence, to indict yourself and your own thinking, to make sure that you're correct. That's not easy, but it's a must. Robert Naser says that people who have some of these terrible opinion poll opinions also have some virtues, and some are not small percentage of us are decent and are doing our best. Okay, I think I missed the first part of Robert's comment. Oh, okay. As we've observed on the socials lately, and in the words of Mark Cormus, people are difficult and complex. Fortunately, the unfortunate mixture we're faced with most folks also means that people who have some of these terrible opinion poll opinions also have some virtues. That's true.
Yep.
And it does. It's very difficult to judge such people at times.
That's true. And Michael, they are searching for virtues. I mean, some of this stuff, as awful and toxic as it sounds, it's because they're looking for something to hold on to, something, a virtue that can guide them in the world. Yes, and Kathy Casco, thank you very much for your $4.99 super chat. She says, if I show up at her door, I'm definitely not having me arrested. You should. Thank you. Thank you.
Why can't I find the $4.99 clip? Oh, okay.
You're boomer adjacent as I am. But I saw it before you did, so it makes it all.
She's not having you arrested. You may not have to because the state will pick up the charges when I call the cops.
You're gonna call the cops when I go over there.
Yeah.
All right. So then we would be two convicted felons doing a show together about capitalism.
Oh, that might be against my interest because I have right now the unique, the unique angle.
Did you want to talk about Davos a little bit? I know it says the Enlightenment up there.
Yeah, I want to talk about the Enlightenment is better. We got a ton of time.
Okay, cool. Let me go up there and scroll through that reason one. Here it is. Oh no, it's. I'm sorry. It's
wow, look at this here. We've got 70 czars.
Thank you.
For Mark can also film his short videos for the Capitalist Corner Patreon.
Yeah, now I am available for this. My wife has gone back to Paris.
What do you mean you're available? Your wife has been gone for 4 days.
She hasn't been gone for 4 days. She's only been gone.
She left on the 16th, right?
I don't remember now. I don't remember what the date was.
Okay.
It was
the bottom line is
like 3 days ago. Oh, but I've been preoccupied with my friend, my 80-year-old friend. I had to take him.
Mark, these videos take 30 seconds to make.
It was like 7 hours in the hospital every time I was there. I understand. They take you 30 seconds to make. They take me 30 minutes to make. I just want you.
I've seen you make videos with Rozzy that didn't take 30 minutes.
Well, yes, you did see me. All right, I'm being called out. I'm going to get it done. I swear to God. And could you tell me something, Persephone? What is the czar? I forget what the currency is out there. And
no, it means rand. I don't like. Why would it be? Why not just call it a rand? South Africa might be like the most backward country. I mean, when you think about the way they talk, the things they say.
Listen, Michael, Akira Felix says you always make me uncomfortable. I don't feel uncomfortable. Do I look uncomfortable? I don't feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, see, this is what I'm talking about. Look at this now. Rand, Zuid Africa. Yeah, that's silly. That doesn't make any sense. Nobody thinks it makes any sense.
Here it is, Persephone.
Yeah.
Michael, I almost want to read this article out, verbatim because it's so amazing. It's from the Daily Economy, which has now become one of my favorite publications in the world. A Dream of Freedom, the Enlightenment's Unfinished Business. I think this is such an important thing to realize, because one of the things America gets criticized for all the time is that it's never lived up to its principles. Number one, it has principles, unlike pretty much every other country in the world, to measure itself by. That means that over time, and that may not be fast enough for many people, it checks itself. It looks inside and into its interior and understands that it is wrong and tries to make corrections. And that's the beauty of having the guidance of the Declaration of Independence and documents like the Constitution, because it enables us to look inward as a country and to see whether or not we are measuring up to our principles. Now, more often than not, particularly over the last 100 years, we do not measure up to them, but we have them there as a standard. And this is very, very important. I wanted to say this. Read the first paragraph, Michael. We could go on, or we can just keep commenting from here. The American founding launched a revolutionary idea. Rights exist first, and government exists to secure them. It's beautiful, transformative, and perpetually unfinished. This is something we all must realize. It's not an experiment. It's an ongoing process of growth, of sorting out what's right and wrong, what's the word I want to use? Oh fuck, I can't remember the phrase. But that's what America is attempting to find its moral purity. It's attempting to reach for those principles all the time, and that's what makes us exceptional in the world. Now, we have to understand that 250 years after the establishment of this unique principle of individual rights, we still don't quite know what they mean overall. And that's why there's a great deal of confusion. There's us, objectivists. I think we understand what the nature of rights are, and we can relate them back to reality. But can the left, can the establishment right? No. And they're the ones who are dictating the terms of the debate. So this is why you guys need to like and subscribe to our show, so we can
share it too, and share from YouTube. Yeah. So tonight I Diana is going out with her friend, and I've got to find something to do. I'm just going to put that out there.
Okay, good. Yeah, so it goes on to say, tempting as it may be, I have no business assigning homework to readers of the Daily Economy. Perhaps, however, I can inspire with enthusiasm. Every year on the 4th of July, while others are already grilling meat and doing fireworks, I reread the Declaration of Independence. This year's reading and the Declaration's 250th anniversary will be particularly special. I love the simple and elegant bridge that Thomas Jefferson constructed between abstract political philosophy and applied constitutionalism. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Now, there is the philosophy, a pithy distillate of the Enlightenment. Applied politics follows. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. The rest is magnificent, but secondary. What's so funny?
Oh, there's a few things that are funny. One is you said you were tempted to read the whole article, and now you're proceeding to read the whole article. But also, I just want to commend you. My attempt to distract you, you battled against it. You did not give in and get into what I'm doing tonight.
My eyes were down.
That was great. You didn't comment and tell me what I can be doing tonight or anything. You just went right back into the story. I just wonder, though, if in your head you had that little voice saying, I really want to find out what he's going to do. I should really comment.
I didn't take the bait this time.
What does this mean? Are the $10 super chats going to get covered at the end? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know either. But folks, to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. All of those concepts are so beautiful, so pristine, unmatched in world history, and our ideal, an ideal that we should be constantly striving for. It's hugely.
Oh, wait, hold on. We got a super chat I got to find from Ian Gilmore. I didn't see it. I'm sorry, Ian. Well, I just scrolled all the way up and I don't see it, Ian. Where is it, Jenna?
I don't see it.
I'm looking at Jenna's name on the screen. Persephone, what happened? Ian, was it today that you put it up there? All right, let's just let her explain it. What, Persephone?
It's in the private chat. So Ian Gilmore asked, 5 years after the election, do you think?
I found it. I found it. I'll take care of it now. Everyone's needs a little perspective here. We're an Enlightenment country. We're doing our best. I have to, on one hand, cover stories. On the other hand, make sure Mark's okay. And now we're going to cover what Ian said. Ian, I'm glad you asked. I'm sorry I missed it. 5 years after the election, do you think it's possible to be honest and believe there was election fraud in 2020? I say it's not. Okay. Oh God, this is a tough one. I think he just honest and believe there was election fraud. If you're asking, I'm going to reframe the question, Ian, and ask if I'm incorrect in what I'm saying, but I believe you're asking is, was there enough fraud? Is it possible to honestly believe there was enough fraud to cost Trump the election in 2020? That I believe that's what you mean. If that's not, then just correct me, because there's some fraud in every election. I do think it's possible, and the reason I think it's possible is this. I think that the left-wing media for so long didn't comport itself very well, right? And I think that a lot of people turned away from it and simply will not listen any longer. And so what ends up happening is they have turned to other media sources that are not reliable either, but they have not yet discovered that. I can use myself as an example. Okay, Ian, thank you. Maybe you're right. But so when the Iraq war was going on, and I've talked about this before, I had already discredited the mainstream media. So as the mainstream media was saying that things were going horribly, I did not trust them, and I listened to Rush Limbaugh, who every day was saying, no, they're wrong. I had a subscription to the Weekly Standard, a conservative magazine, and they would similarly, the media is not getting this right. So I had a faulty perspective on things. And even after, once that was, it was undeniable any longer, I still didn't discredit the right-wing media sources. I just thought, well, maybe they were just wrong, mistaken. It actually wasn't until Trump came along that I realized how untrustworthy these right-wing sources were, because it wasn't because of what the media was saying. It was because of what Trump was saying. They was being contradicted by the hosts that were defending him. But if I was a person who simply would not tune into any sources of information outside of right-wing sources, that might be wrong. It might not be prudent, and I don't believe it is. But if I lived in that echo chamber, I certainly can see how it would be possible to still believe this stuff. I don't think that it's wise to believe it. I don't think that it's even, I won't say rational, but honest. I think it's possible that a person can be honest and say so. Now but thank you, Ian. And if you make it on, I'd be happy to hear your perspective on that, of why it's not. Okay.
I mean, I can agree with that, but I also know some super smart people who were involved in some recounts in Maricopa County. I don't think they would have made a difference in the national election, but who claim that there was lots of fraud over there. They're smart people. One of them is a professor of philosophy who is objectivist friendly. The other one is an objectivist and an IT guy, super smart IT guy who develops AI for various companies. And these guys are convinced nationally that there was shenanigans going on. And you're right, they may be distrustful of the left-wing media and only trusting right-wing sources that are equally as illegitimate, and given their own unique experience in a very narrow spot of the country, have drawn conclusions overall that are not true. I personally don't think you can actually look back on the 2020 election as stolen anymore and be rational, but that's me. But I personally one source of information.
Yes, and another thing is this, that if you are following these MAGA influencers, for instance, on X, every day I get stuff through my feed that's arguing that the election was stolen. Mm-hmm. There's new evidence. This has been revealed. That's been revealed, and I look into it, and it turns out it's false. But here's the rub. If I've already said that all these fact checkers are liars, which a lot of these MAGA types say, then going to a fact checker does nothing. It means absolutely nothing. Robert Naser has given us $10. Thank you, Robert. He says, this is a test of the super chat broadcast system. It's only a test. If this has been an actual super chat, it would have included a pithy or pithy, whatever one is, pithy or pithy. Philosophical or political comment. This concludes this test. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Robert, for that test. I appreciate that. If you want to, do more than a test, please. We have 10 minutes to do so. Should I continue with this, or are we off on a different tangent now that's even more interesting? Because I really think this article. I'm going to post this article on my X.
That's what you got to do,
because I think it's valuable. It's from the Daily Economy, folks. It really talks about the founding principles and how this is an ongoing process, that the country is in process and trying to align itself with these principles. That's our overall goal as the American Capitalist Party, is to align ourselves with the founding principles and then some. Yeah.
Robert Naser is kicking ass and taking names in the chat. He said the reasons why the left proffers so much fake news is the exact same reason why the right does the same. Dishonesty, subjectivity, and all manner of cognitive biases infect both sides. He then goes on to say, hey, it's 2026. We got so many facts now. Everyone can have their very own personal set, and most of them do. And I agree. And that's why I believe it's possible. But I mean, look, honestly, like, I don't have a lot of friends that think that. I really only know, I think, of two people that believe that, and these people are not even like gatherers of information. They're not diving into the news or anything like that. They just believe it. They tune into Fox, I think, and so they believe it.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is the case.
Andy Bernstein, Ian says, believes that the 2020 election was stolen. I don't know. I have not discussed that with him.
All right. So since Axios refuses to come up, and I can't talk about Davos as much as I'd like to, I can call up the Reason article, the title of which is "We Are Not Investigating the Shooting of René Good," the Deputy Attorney General says. Michael, this just, I mean, this is what fuels the Harry Binswanger fire. This is what makes people very suspicious of the establishment and these alphabet soup agencies and their legitimacy, is when they circle the wagons around somebody who, it seems clearly from all video evidence that I've seen, has been involved in a wrongful shooting, a wrongful death of some kind, and that some action needs to be taken, at least not only an investigation from these agencies, but certainly a trial, and certainly some outcome from that trial. Otherwise, Miss Good is not going to receive justice, and it looks like the Republican establishment is circling the wagons around this guy in such a way that she will not get justice. Now, what do you think of this? I mean,
I was never the fact that the government immediately came out and said it was a domestic terrorist and that the shooting was justified, I think is very, very bad. I think there should be an investigation. I don't think there would be. And even if there were, I wouldn't trust it at this point. I will say this. I was going over this morning. This morning I was going over the criteria for murder in Minnesota. And I think a case potentially could be made for second-degree murder.
Yeah.
Potentially, a lot of it hinges on, getting an exact view of what occurred at the moment of the shooting. But so that's, I don't think there's going to be an investigation. In fact, they're really hinting there won't be one, not by the FBI anyway. There'll be an internal investigation of themselves done by people who have already absolved, the shooter. Persephone gave us another 70 czars. Thank you, Persephone, for the czars. We appreciate it. Ian Gilmore says that Andy Bernstein in 2020 and 2021 was claiming the election was stolen. But I believe, Ian, that your question was today. And I don't know. I haven't seen those videos. I have no reason to doubt you. But I don't know what his view of that is right now.
I don't either. I mean, I was on Bosch's show about 3 years ago, I guess, and they were very much into the conspiracy theory that the election was stolen. Both of
Yeah,
them.
I don't know. I'm just coming around to see some of the posts from that guy.
From
And
Boston.
yeah, I don't know why. I mean, I shouldn't say it. I get because he talks with in a very emotional tone. He's, this tough guy, but intellectually very, very unimpressed with that guy.
So Akira Felix says, so you're saying people believe it because they watch too much Newsmax and Fox News. Newsmax, by the way, is endorsed by President Trump. So it's probably a great source of news.
I'm not saying that. No, hold on a second. I'm not definitively saying that's why. What I'm saying is I could see it happening. I don't know for certain. I don't know what people's news watching or news reading habits are. But yeah, Ian Gilmore, you asked me 5 years after the election if I thought it was possible, to be honest. And when I said I don't know Andy's position, I don't know what his position is today.
And more to your point, Michael, what I got from what you were saying was people lost so much faith in the establishment media. They saw them lying all the time. Their biases were out front, and they just decided not to trust them anymore and turned to alternative media sources, which, because they confirm their own biases, they don't seem to question as much. But certainly it's created a bunch of echo chambers where people are not really finding the truth. And they're really just sort of organizing themselves into tribal bands and following the dogma of the tribal band. So I do believe it's possible for people to, I have a friend who believes this because all he does watch is conservative news. So he still is firmly in the belief that the election was probably stolen, and it comes in part from all the crap that the left-wing establishment and media did. They lied so fucking much.
They have. Robert Naser says, if you experience a persistent or painful election, which won't go away, please consult your doctor. When I was in prison, they wanted to put me on a medication because I had trouble sleeping even then. And the doctor says, he's going over the side effects, and he says one of the side effects may be an erection that won't go away. He says if the erection persists longer than 4 hours, you're going to have to contact medical. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. And all I could picture is me in the middle of the night banging on the cell door. CO, I got to go to medical. I got an erection that won't go away.
Given what you've said about the laxity of the medical system there, they probably wouldn't even treat you. And do you know what would happen in that case, Michael?
No, I'm not an erection expert. What would happen?
Well, I'm not an erection expert either, but that could cause necrotic tissue in your junk, which could potentially lead to an amputation.
Nobody wants that.
Nobody wants an amputated penis. But given how bad the medical system there is in the prison system, I don't think anybody would help you. If you banged on the door and said, "I got a boner that won't go away," I think you're gonna get laughter.
I'm going to, yeah.
All through the sub. But this is a very dangerous situation. This is a very dangerous situation. If they don't reverse that blood flow, you are in deep trouble. It's like,
what do they do? What do they do to reverse it?
There's a thing called compartmental syndrome. Like, you can get it in jiu-jitsu if, like, you bar somebody's arm.
In your Johnson?
No. In various parts of it, wherever you have muscle tissue, if somebody like bars a part of that muscle tissue super hard, it can create a situation where all the blood floods to that area and it can't move out. And if that's the case, you have to get the pressure, relieve the pressure, or it can become necrotic.
All right.
So
if you don't want a necrotic, yeah, if you don't want a necrotic penis, turn into this show. Tune in because Mark.
Go ahead. What?
Mark is giving advice on how to avoid necrosis of the Johnson.
Yeah, title of my biography. Anyway, folks.
All right, give the capitalist start of the day.
I've given it the last few times. It's your turn.
No, you haven't. I gave it yesterday. What are you talking about?
Persephone, did he give it yesterday?
Persephone? Of course I did.
He gave it yesterday? Maybe you did. All right, folks. Well, today we've been talking about, we've been talking about law enforcement agencies that are illegitimate, but nevertheless have the power to arrest you. In a capitalist society, law enforcement would only have the power to arrest you if you are committing crimes. That means you are initiating force or fraud against another human being. There would be no alphabet soup agencies like the tobacco and firearms, and there would be no FBI, and there would be no any of these agencies out there, Drug Enforcement Agency, ICE, all of them would be gone. They are superfluous. The only thing that the police are supposed to do is protect your property and protect you from violence. And for us, that means a society of the widest degree of freedom and choice. So in a capitalist society, no alphabet soup agencies would exist. No extra constitutional agencies of law enforcement would exist. They could do the bidding of the government as opposed to serve the people. And what's your question for the day, Mike?
My question today, who is a realistic guest you would like to see on the show? That's it. Who is someone you would like to see on the show that we could actually get?
So I would like to say, Erase says penises come up a lot on the show, but I want to say more often than not, I think you bring up the penis more than I do.
The penis?
You brought it up this time.
No, I didn't. I was referencing Robert Naser's comment, and all I did was say that something that happened to me in prison, and you got into the details.
The erection that won't go away, and I told you why that was a dangerous thing.
You did. You knew it all.
Well,
I mean, listen, you're not only an expert on various people's penises, but you're also the expert on the penis itself.
Okay, that's highly doubtful. Well, folks, we're going to be here tomorrow, same bat time, same bat place, 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern. I should say same bat channel. I said same bat place. And you have 23 hours, guys, to check your premises. So please do that. And in the meantime, be happy. We do live in the best times in the civilized world, even though it seems like things are crazy right now. There are people out there like us trying to push forward the torch of not only hope, but of reason and liberty. So be a part of the change. Go to AmericanCapitalistParty.org, and we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.